Muslim women in Europe are in a very privileged position. They have access and understanding to the very rich and deep Islamic heritage. At the same time, they live in Europe where they have access to the right tools to achieve what they aim for.
Ser musulmana y europea es todo un desafío actualmente porque siempre tenemos que elegir entre o ser musulmán o ser europeo. Yo creo que es necesario que se entienda que el Islam forma parte de Europa, es una religión europea y que no hay ninguna contradicción.
Growing up as a Muslim girl in the 70s, it made me sort of see that I had to really prove myself because there's no role models.
As I was studying and growing inwardly, eventually, it became more and more important to integrate my faith into other aspects and other areas of my life.
I was always an outsider because of culturally brought up differently, but that actually made me focus and work harder and gave me an opportunity to prove myself. It means to me being a European is to get the recognition. I just recently got an MBE and my parents came with me to Buckingham Palace. And my dad came wearing his medals that his father had won during the First World War and the Second World War. And just sort of having that sort of as a heritage, it's just made me sort of see how important something like a royal endorsement from the Cabinet Office and everything is to my parents. My dad, he was so proud, and my mum started crying. And I've had real highs in my career. I mean, I've dressed Michelle Pfeiffer, I've dressed supermodels, but to them that was really the pinnacle of achievement. And my dad was just wearing his medal so proudly. He was walking in a sort of slightly different way, and I really did feel that I'd achieved something for them.
As I was growing up, I wanted to be a physicist. I wanted that from day one, nothing else. I wanted to understand the world around me, and I thought physics is the right place to start. The presence around me as I grew up wasn't as inspiring as the past, and I could see the tools of the modern world abroad in the West, and I aspired to go there and get involved in the active scientific research, and that's what I did. As I got there, though, there was still that culture shock, but I didn't realize it. Somebody pointed out to me later on. I was very busy trying to adapt to a new system of learning, a new language, new people around me. I had no time to think about culture shock. However, I felt around, in Sweden, as I lived there, that in many ways they are much closer to core Islamic values than many in the Muslim world. They are very honest. They are very concerned about social equality and fairness. They work very hard, and that really moved me.
Ce qui m'a motivée depuis que j'étais petite, c'était le sentiment de justice que je partageais. Depuis toute petite, je combattais toujours par rapport aux injustices que je rencontrais tant dans ma classe que dans ma famille, que dans mon environnement. Et j'étais toujours la première à prendre la parole et à dire « mais non, mais ça ne doit pas se passer de cette manière-là et c'est de cette manière-là qu'il faut passer ».
So my motivation for being a journalist was really, to search for the truth, maybe to unearth scandals, inspire people. This is what I wanted to do with journalism. And as soon as my journalistic education was over, suddenly I landed a job as a presenter on MTV Europe.
Yo creo que el trabajo que hago yo, junto con muchas otras mujeres musulmanas, es de cara a las nuevas generaciones, ¿no? Y la preocupación por que estas nuevas generaciones se encuentren con un mundo mejor que el nuestro actual.
To be a Muslim European girl is not really different to anything else because I don't categorize with, I don't put myself in a position thinking, oh, I'm a Muslim girl and I can't do this and I can't do that. So I don't really take notice of it, but I do sometimes when I walk into a boxing, like if I'm going to watch my friends boxing at a working man's gym or something, or a pub, I do find it a bit weird or like awkward actually when I walk into the room and I feel as if everyone's staring at me because I'm the only Asian Muslim girl there, whereas everybody else is white, black or male.
I had the opportunity to travel a lot. I presented several different shows, many different shows in those 7.5 years that I stayed with MTV. And I was in people's living rooms across Europe every day. During the time when I was at MTV, the wall came down in Germany, communism finished, there were wars in the Gulf and in Bosnia, and we were just not allowed to make any comments at all because it was an entertainment station. So that felt frustrating sometimes, as you can imagine.
When I'm boxing, when I'm in a fight, I feel nervous in the beginning. Like just before I walk into a fight, I'm really, really nervous. But when I'm in there, I just want to get it over and done with, so I just want to box and sort it out. Just, you know, quickly get over and done with and just get out of there. And then just when you're after the boxing, when you've boxed, you're so like, oh my God, let's see how I've done now. So you're just waiting for that result to find out if you're lost or you won. It's really exciting.
Well, when I was young, I was always dreaming about being a famous fashion designer, and I'll tell you what fame meant to me. It meant that I had control and power over my destiny. The key skills that has been really important in my career has been the creative skill and the talent, and then also I felt it was really important to be able to communicate what you do to other people. Otherwise you're a designer who nobody has heard of.
The qualities that helped me establishing myself in my profession is being very clear about what I want, ignoring obstacles altogether, and aim very high.
I think my greatest skills and talents are keeping myself disciplined, and especially with my food, and keeping fit, because I am a boxer, so I have to keep fit. So, and like time management as well, because I'm in college now, and I've got like boxing, I've got my schoolwork to do, I've got like spending time with family and stuff, so it's a lot of things to do.
Mon meilleur atout en fait dans ma vie politique, enfin ce qui m'a amené ici, c'est que j'ai pu garder en fait les liens avec les personnes issues de n'importe quel milieu, et que je suis une personne qui m'adapte à tout environnement. Donc avec les jeunes, je sais devenir jeune, avec d'autres personnes, je sais vraiment m'exprimer dans leur langue, je sais m'adapter à l'environnement dans lequel je vis, je recrée les liens, je sais être tout à fait à l'aise dans un marché populaire que dans des conférences élitistes, tout en restant soi-même. Donc le plus important en fait, c'est de rester soi, tout simplement, et d'avoir confiance en soi.
I get often asked why somebody from Syria wants to study astrophysics, and why not? I mean, as many children, I aspired at studying astronomy and astrophysics, and I couldn't see why the fact that I'm from Syria should stop me from doing so. It wasn't as easy as for somebody who was born here, where they have all the tools, all the universities. Indeed, it was more difficult, but I got there because I insisted on what I wanted to do from the beginning.
The younger generation always come up to me and say, oh, you're doing really well, this, that, keep it up and stuff. Whereas if I told someone my mum's age or my dad's age, they would probably say it to my face, oh, you're doing really well, and then go up to my parents later on saying, why is your daughter doing boxing?
And at the height of my career, something really strange and unpredictable happened. I was introduced to a Muslim, and through him to the religion of Islam. Through much research, traveling to the East, many discussions and reading many books, and also listening to Sufi music, which actually opened my heart. The Sufi music that I was played and the lyrics were translated to me, touched me more deeply than any song on MTV, and that actually opened my heart for the East and opened my heart for the religion of Islam.
En algunos aspectos me ha ayudado el romper el estereotipo, ¿no? El hecho de ser musulmana y de poder superar los obstáculos demuestra que las mujeres musulmanas podemos realizar todo tipo de trabajos.
L'une des personnes qui m'a le plus inspirée dans mon combat, c'était évidemment Rosa Parks. parce que j'avais lu son histoire quand j'avais 16 ans et j'avais vraiment été marquée qu'en fait une jeune femme, il y a quelques dizaines d'années de cela, a fait tout un combat parce qu'elle a été discriminée d'un bus et qu'elle a réussi à faire changer la mentalité des gens. Donc quand on voit aujourd'hui un président américain avec une peau de couleur très foncée, ce n'est pas le combat d'Obama, ce n'est pas que son combat, c'est le combat de Rosa Parks qui a fait changer les mentalités. On est passé et qui a déclenché en fait un changement, un déclic dans la mentalité des gens. Et donc Rosa Parks, c'est vraiment une personne qui m'a vraiment inspirée dans ma vie.
Pues mis modelos han sido siempre mujeres un poco más mayores que yo, que me han ayudado en mi manera de entender la vida y en el combate que ellas han llevado a cabo. Y eran personas cercanas, amigas mías, ¿no? No eran héroes o ídolos como artistas o intelectuales, pero eran personas muy amigas mías. Entonces era una relación de amistad, pero además de respeto.
We hardly hear about prominent women in the history of the Arabic Islamic science, and I tried to research this area, and I found that there were actually much more prominent in that field than we thought. Starting from the early days, for example, the Prophet Muhammad instructed a woman medical expert to pass her knowledge through learning circles to the others. In 10th century Aleppo, for example, Maryam al-Ajliya was very famous for the very sophisticated and complicated astrolabes. These are astronomical tools that she designed and made. In Morocco, for example, Maryam al-Fihri devoted her life and fortune to build the first university in the world, Al-Qarawiyyin University. In this modern world, science is the only way forward. There is no other way. So any nation that doesn't excel in science will be left behind very soon. So both Muslim men and women need to get involved in science and scientific research. Now, physics is a particularly important basic science, and most of the breakthroughs in the modern world come from the advancement in physics. But unfortunately, many of the Muslim countries spend more efforts, studying and applying engineering and medicine, whereas, in my view, much more attention should be paid to the basics, to the foundation.
Pues en España la verdad es que es bastante difícil, ¿no?, que se reconozca el papel del líder como mujeres musulmanas. Yo diría que por dos motivos. Dentro de las comunidades musulmanas, digamos que las corrientes mayoritarias suelen ser muy conservadoras y es decir, que solamente se ven a hombres, son los líderes en las mezquitas, líderes de las asociaciones, y las mujeres musulmanas son menos visibles, pero también en los medios de comunicación solo aparecen pues, en casos negativos, pero no como un líder positivo para la sociedad. Y es curioso, es irónico, teniendo en cuenta el pasado de España, y en el que al-Ándalus, pues desde la tradición andalusí y musulmana, pues ha habido musulmanes durante muchos siglos, ¿no?
I've always wanted to be a tailor ever since the age of 10, but I did sort of feel maybe I wanted to go into being a social worker, or I was very interested in sociology. And it's funny, you sort of think, oh, the two don't really have anything in common, but in fact I do sort of help people with their lives in terms of dressing them for special occasions, for weddings, for all sorts of different happy and sad. So I'm actually helping people and teaching in the studio, giving them skills for life. So I feel that I'm actually doing everything that I set out to do.
La verdad es que tengo muchísimos proyectos, mucha energía, muchas ganas de hacer cosas porque hay mucha necesidad en España, pues tanto para musulmanes como para no musulmanes, sensibilizar a la población, a las comunidades. La educación es básica, la independencia económica de las mujeres. Yo tengo proyectos en temas de educación para preparar cursos sobre Islam y de alguna manera contribuir a romper estereotipos. Y también para las comunidades musulmanas, porque en España las mujeres tienen muchas dificultades para acceder a las mezquitas y yo creo que es necesario para socializarlas, para que puedan y podamos participar en las mezquitas y en la toma de decisiones que nos afectan directamente. Entonces yo diría, desde el ámbito, digamos, de acceso a las mezquitas, educación y independencia económica, empoderamiento de las mujeres musulmanas. Ese es mi proyecto, mi vocación, y yo creo que a mí me llena personalmente, no solo porque ayudo yo a las demás, sino que esa labor me ayuda a mí personalmente.
My dreams are to box for the Olympics. I think London 2012, but my reasonable goal would be 2016 because I'll be more older and experienced. Also, I would want to be a role model, positive role model, and inspire the girls to do sports. Not just Asian girls, but any other girl. Even though I want to be different in what I do as a boxer or a sportswoman, on my day-to-day life, I would like to be like any other teenager. I want to be normal.
When I first applied for the International Master in Physics in Sweden, I was still in Syria. I was rejected. The program argued that I don't have the right background in physics. I applied again, and this time I sent him details of all the courses I attended in math and physics at Damascus University. He rejected me again. I applied again, rejected again, and then I applied the fourth time. This time he realized I'm not going to give up, so he offered me conditional admission to the master program. I had to prove myself in the first term. Before I even finished the first year of the 3 terms master, I was already accepted in a PhD position at the same university.
Bien, parmi les obstacles que j'ai rencontrés et qui m'ont renforcé dans mon action, c'était surtout l'année passée, avant ma campagne électorale, enfin c'était l'une des actions qui m'ont découragée un peu, c'était que en fait, je ne pouvais pas avoir les mêmes chances que les autres candidats d'apparaître devant les médias. Mais je suscitais l'intérêt des médias parce que je portais un foulard et que j'étais la seule candidate à porter un foulard dans toutes les listes. Évidemment, ça me décourageait parce que je n'avais pas les mêmes chances que les autres et j'étais vraiment sollicitée plus que les autres, justement, parce que j'étais la seule et la première à le porter. Et donc, on me demandait, ça m'énervait et j'étais découragée, je n'avais plus envie de faire campagne. Et du coup, je me suis dit, j'avais lu en fait une phrase de Nietzsche, c'était « Ce qui ne me tue pas me renforce ». Et c'est vrai, parce qu'en fait, je me suis dit, soit je m'attarde à cette difficulté de ne pas apparaître devant les médias, soit je fais comme si de rien n'était, mais je continue de faire campagne en rencontrant les citoyens au quotidien.
I started my business in 91 and I established my name straight away because the West End, I moved there to Bond Street. And I was there for about 7 years, and I went to a talk, which I was a speaker as well, and this one Savile Row tailor didn't sort of make eye contact and turned away. And I just thought it was really surprising because they didn't sort of want to acknowledge that a woman has achieved recognition in a male-dominated industry. And just recently, a few months ago, that person has been recommending clients over to me because of my being an award-winning tailor and getting an MBE and all of that. So it's recognition from on high that I am on the same platform as them.
At my party when we were celebrating my first win, family members asked me to stop my boxing, and I was really upset by it because I thought they should be supporting me and stuff. So I thought to myself, what am I going to do now? And so I thought, I can't just stop now, I have to carry on with it. So I thought to myself, just ignore what they say, just do what you've got to do and just have to do it. I just thought to myself I had to be the first one to do it so other girls can do it as well.
Ser feminista y musulmana significa poder ser creyente, tener una espiritualidad, pero no por eso aceptar que una mujer sea sumisa. La sumisión de la mujer hacia el hombre no es islámico.
My friend, she's a boxer, she's white. Her family don't accept her as well. Like her parents obviously support her, but it's like the extended family they don't really like because she's a girl, so, which is I think kind of sexist. To be honest, they're not really bothered if they're Asian or white. I think it's because we're a girl and most people think it's a boy sport.
At that time, when it came out in the press that I was a Muslim, practically overnight, a very negative press campaign followed and I lost all my jobs. So from being this award-winning, extremely popular television presenter, suddenly, I was it was very misunderstood and almost public enemy #1 in Germany for a little while. So it was during this time of retreat that I studied Arabic and the religion. You know, I read so many books, as you can see here in my place, met scholars, traveled to Egypt many times with wonderful Sufi Muslims actually, and scholars to certain conferences and things like that. Once I went on Umrah as well, and to many other places in the Islamic world, and I studied natural medicine and specializing in homeopathy. And it really was, you know, a very special time because it was a time of inner growth.
So I grew up within a dynamic culture in Syria. The Syria I remember when I was a child is very different to that I left behind me when I was 25 years old. It's very different to the one I see now when I go back to Syria. Whereas many of the children who were born here in the West, they live with a snapshot of the culture that their parents took as they left their home countries. It's a frozen snapshot. The children find it very difficult to identify with and to understand. Like many other mothers, you know, I want a lot for my children, you know, in terms of education. I want to see them happy, realizing their potential. But I also would love to see them able to speak Arabic, read Arabic, and be able to communicate with their background culture from their mother's side. And they'll find out, you know, by themselves.
Well, I think the future for Muslim girls in Europe, I think, is very positive because in our generation now, the girls are speaking up more, and before nobody would listen to us because they never used to speak up or anything, but now it's totally different. It's like more girls speaking up and they're getting the word across. And now it's like the girls want to get their dreams fulfilled.
Le futur pour les femmes musulmanes dans le leadership en Europe, je pense qu'elles sont positives parce que effectivement être pionnier est très difficile, mais quand des portes s'ouvrent, d'autres peuvent y parvenir. Donc les pionniers doivent ouvrir des portes et d'autres doivent suivre. Actuellement, nous avons de plus en plus de femmes musulmanes qui ont accès à des postes à responsabilité. J'espère que dans les années à venir, il y en aura plus, et d'ailleurs je suis convaincue par ça. Effectivement, on parle de par exemple, l'exemple en Angleterre, où on parle où il y a des femmes justement musulmanes qui sont à des postes à responsabilité et qui n'ont aucun problème, tant avec leur foulard que qui savent concilier leur vie, leur engagement de femmes musulmanes avec leur engagement professionnel. Mais quand on en parle ici en Belgique, on dit oui, mais là-bas c'est une société multiculturelle. Et nous en Belgique, nous voulons un modèle interculturel, c'est-à-dire où les gens se côtoient, se mélangent. Mais je pense que c'est une vision un peu idéaliste et utopiste parce que c'est une société interculturelle, elle ne se construit qu'à long terme et elle ne peut pas se construire sans volonté réelle des politiques menées et sans laisser l'opportunité à ces femmes d'acquérir justement des postes à haute responsabilité. Mais je reste confiante et je pense que vraiment dans les années à venir, on va avoir plus de femmes musulmanes dans des postes à responsabilité.
The future of Muslim women in Europe, well, I hope that I have sort of fought some of the battles. I'm always sort of feeling that breaking new ground, a bit of a pioneer. And I hope that that has sort of created opportunity for the next generation and for my children, that they, you know, have a right to expect opportunity to be handed to them and that they can fly with that.
So after the time of retreat, I was then ready to come out back into the world again, merging my studies and my television work and journalism. Now I feel I'm really happy in my work because I feel I'm making a contribution and I'm using my media skills for something positive. So my idealistic side is finally fulfilled, you see, and I'm feeling, you know, I'm doing something with a purpose.